The Building the Bag saga continues today, where we check out a bunch of different discs that all fill roughly the same slot, and we put them to battle. And only one will come out a champion and make it into my bag for the 2026 season. And today we are taking a look at FLIPPY fairway drivers. A couple months ago, we figured out that the T-Bird is my straight to overstable fairway driver of choice. So we need a good fairway driver that's understable to pair with the T-Bird to give us all the shots that we need in that fairway driver category. And to qualify for this illustrious opportunity, you must be a fairway or control type driver with -3 or more turn. So we're talking about the really flippy boys. And we got 10 right here that are entering the arena, but which one will exit? Well, first, let's meet the contenders. Going from lowest speed to highest speed, we are starting out with the MVP Neutron Signal. Then we have the DGA Katrina Allen PL Vortex, followed by the Innova Glow Lynx, and the ThoughtSpace Athletics Vex Persona, and the Prodigy 400 Glow F9, the MVP Neutron Virus, the Discraft 2026 Tour Series TI Swirl Heat, the Climo Discs Special Edition Osprey, the Discraft ESP Avenger SS, and last but not least, the Innova Pro Gorgon. So those are the 10 understable fairway drivers entering the fray. But if you feel like I missed any good flippy fairway drivers, maybe you think I snubbed them, let me know what those are down in the comments below. This, of course, is not an exhaustive list. It's just 10 that I think I might like and I think might be good in my bag. So with all that said, let's jump into this thing. All right, we are gonna start out on a 342-foot backhand turnover. You gotta make it bend to the right, which is perfect for a flippy fairway driver. With that said, 4 of these discs I've never thrown, and a few of the other ones I've only thrown a couple times a while back. So I really have no idea how understable these discs are, which might make this a little bit tricky. I'm not sure how much hyzer I'll have to put on them to get like the hyzer flip to flat and keep turning. So for this first hole, we're learning. Okay, we don't really know how flippy these are. Gonna try to put them all out flat to a little bit of hyzer, just kind of see what happens. So let's let them rip. Look at that beautiful hyzer flip. See, that's pretty darn flippy. That cut pretty aggressively to the right. We actually got the cut roll out of it. Still, that's okay. Just really flippy. I want a disc that will hold the turn the entire flight. Like, I don't want to have to worry about accidentally not giving it enough juice to get the turnover. We want consistent turnover, so really flippy is good. Oh, that signal. That is so flippy as well. Whoa, all right. We might have to start putting all these on more hyzer because I think these are all gonna be flippy enough where if we put them out flat, there's gonna be rollers. Let's go with the Lynx. This is what I'm curious about. Used to be the Innova It. I never threw the It, but they rebranded it as the Lynx. Good move by them. It was a terrible name. There we go. Look at all that turn. Yeah, we're going to put these on more hyzer. More hyzer. All right, let's go Prodigy F9. Prodigy, they know how to make a good flippy disc. PA5, goated flippy disc. Yeah, that was nice and wide. Gives it plenty of space to come on back. We have not gotten the distance right on any of these so far. These have all been too flippy probably for this shot. Or rather, I really just have to start them on more hyzer, but like I said, I don't really know how a lot of these discs fly, so we just got to figure it out. Axiom Virus, this is one that I've thrown a ton. Probably not as flippy as a lot of these other discs, so this one I can trust a little bit more flat. Yeah, if I put that higher, that would have been really nice. Still solid though. Right shape, wrong height. This Climo Disc Special Edition Osprey looks so beautiful. This plastic, I think this is the equivalent of Discraft's Z Color Shift plastic, which probably has the best aesthetic of any of the discs here. So bonus points right off the bat for the Osprey. Yeah, that's a goodie. Tons of turn, plenty of distance there. All right, Osprey, Shaping up pretty good there. A couple of more Discraft made ones here. This Avenger SS 5-time claw. From my memory, it's been a while since I've thrown it, but from my memory, it's not super flippy. That's nice though, don't hit that, nice. Held the turn the whole time, but I put that one out a little bit flatter. Again, I gotta get these up. Gotta give them more height. I've not thrown this TI Swirl Heat yet. I've heard this TI Swirl Heat is more overstable than a typical Heat. Yeah, not super flippy. We gave it the height it needed on the one that is not flippy enough. That's just my luck. That's how it goes around here sometimes. Forgot one in the bag here. We got the Pro Gorgon. I know I'm gonna get questions on why there's no Roadrunner and Sidewinder here. I'm gonna be real with you guys. Those molds very much annoy me because I've owned a bunch of Roadrunners and Sidewinders, and it is a coin flip whether or not they're gonna be understable or just not really flippy at all. Gorgons, every Gorgon I've tried is pretty flippy though, so points for that. Oh, that's a nice, we dodged that tree. That is so good. That's how we do it here. We save the best for last. What did we learn from the first throws? Most of these are way more understable than I anticipated, which maybe I should have anticipated because -3 turn, -4 turn, that's pretty darn flippy usually. Not always, but usually. But pretty much all the low speed ones like Signal, through like the 8 speeds like the TSA Persona, those ones would definitely need to be hyzer flipped, so like flipping up most of the flight, because if you put them out flat, they're just going to cut to the right way before we reach 342 feet. So that's something I got to keep in mind here. Not good or bad, because we want reliably understable, which those give, but also they might get a little bit squirrely on us because they are just immensely understable. So we got some thinking to do. All right, I got to really hone in here on what I'm actually looking for in this slot, because I feel like what's really valuable to me in this style of disc is that I can throw it on hyzer, which is my preferred angle to throw on just in general, get it to flip up to flat every single time, no questions asked, and then still drift a little bit to the right. But we don't want to dive bomb to the right, and that's kind of the fine line that we have to walk here. I feel like I really got to get to know an understable disc for it to really fly well for me, way more so than other slots. With that said, this isn't necessarily the perfect hole to test it out on, but we want to throw hyzer flips, deep hyzer flips, where we start definitively on this type of angle here, get it to flip up and get it to just drift a little bit to the right. So we're not really trying to park this hole, but this is just a nice tunnel to really force us to do the hyzer flip in a controlled way. Yeah, okay, Signal, oh, that's one of the flippiest ones here. That is so understable, but I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for. Hyzer flip, flat, keeps going right, not gonna stop. Vortex is really similar, also just extremely flippy. See that Lynx, that's a little bit more what I'm looking for. You see we got the flip up to flat. That one did come back at the end. That's because I put it on a pretty darn deep hyzer. Where if I started on a little more of a gentle hyzer rather than like deep hyzer, that's when we see more of that just consistent to the right. So again, that's what I'm talking about. This is gonna be a tough distinction here because we want something that turns the whole time, but doesn't turn into a roller. You will not catch me throwing backhand rollers. I'll just say that. That is not my forte. That's a goodie. That is exactly what we're looking for, actually. That's really nice. Yeah, F9. F9 might take the cake for flippiest. You can see that cut roll back across the fairway. That one, it's gonna be too flippy. F9 fans, I mean, it serves a purpose, but that thing is just crazy understable. That's nice. Yeah, Virus flips up to flat and then kind of gently goes to the right. I like that one's a little more gentle. Osprey, look, the Osprey keeps flipping, comes back a little bit. Again, these higher speed ones, these 10-speed ones, I feel like we're not gonna get quite as much flip out of them given the same type of throw, which makes sense. Yeah, Avenger SS, ooh, you get that late flip. That's beautiful, actually. That's a nice one. Smooth turn on that. Yeah, actually, that was nice. Oh, we hit the tree, but that was actually shaping up really nice. Very similar to the Avenger SS, where the turn to the right is much more gradual. And that Gorgon, very similar to the Avenger SS in heat. Now let's take a minute here to talk about hand feel. The hand feel between most of these is pretty similar. They all have a pretty low parting line, which is typical of flippy discs. There are two big differences. One is rim width, right? We got from 6 speeds all the way up to 10 speeds, which are more in that control driver territory. And because of that, there is a big discrepancy in the width of the rim between something like the Signal, a 6-speed, and something like the Gorgon, which is a 10-speed. I don't really have a big preference here. I do tend to drift towards slimmer rims in general. I like the fact that lower speed discs are easier to get up to speed. So if I want a guaranteed flip, I tend to reach for lower speed discs typically. With that said, some high speed discs are just flippy enough where it doesn't really matter. You know, you can still throw it gently and still get a nice turn out of it, like with this Pro Gorgon. The second biggest difference is the bottom rim. You can see on the Signal, the rim is concave. You can see the angle goes inwards towards the disc, whereas the Gorgon is the opposite. It is convex, so the rim actually bulges out on the bottom. Flippy discs tend to be more convex than overstable discs, but it's not a hard and fast rule. There's plenty of flippy discs that are not convex. And of our 10 discs, the Gorgon and the Lynx are definitely the most convex. Once again, it really doesn't make a big difference to me personally if you're convex or concave or somewhere in between. With all that said, there's no hand feels here that are deal breakers, right? When it comes to drivers, I'm not super picky about hand feel in the same way I am about mid-ranges and putters. So all of these, you know, pass the initial test as far as hand feel is concerned. So pretty much a non-factor, but we do have a little bit of variation. All right, we're 2 throws deep. So let me know down below which one so far is your favorite of our 10. But now we got a nice wide open shot, free from these shackles of trees, where we really just get to see the full flight without being impeded. So this shot should tell us a lot for our 10 discs. I'm gonna try to give these some height so we can really see the flights. Because the problem with flippy discs, if you throw them low, then obviously they're gonna hit the ground, right? They're gonna turn into the ground pretty early. So we wanna give these some height. Yeah, Signal, so understable. That has to be the flippiest. I feel like I've said that about like 4 discs, but that one has to be. Put that a little bit further to the right, but yeah, it's just so understable. Yeah, I think those ones, sadly, too understable. Didn't give that one the same height, but oh my gosh. I mean, is that not the roller disc here? Again, Lynx. I like that Lynx. Understable, but not gonna burn over on me. That Lynx, ooh, I think that one's going places. That's one of my favorites so far. And that Persona, very similar for me. I like that one a lot too. This is my first time throwing a Climo disc. I really like this Osprey. Yeah, that carries really far. Didn't give that one the height I wanted. That's pretty flippy. Virus got some flip to it. Yeah, that Avenger SS is not as flippy. It's turning, but it's gonna come out. Yeah. Yeah, that heat, very similar to the Avenger SS, where it's not gonna turn all the way over if I put it on hyzer. I did throw that really high in the air, which, you know, we wanna give it some height, but that was definitely nose up. Yeah, see, that was on a good bit of hyzer, and it doesn't keep flipping. All right, boys, I've collected our discs here, and unfortunately, we have 2 fallen soldiers. I searched for like 30 minutes, I didn't find them, but I'm taking it as a sign. Gorgon heat, like I was saying, not quite as flippy as what I'm looking for. And, you know, God rest their souls, but they're no longer in my possession, so automatic disqualification, I suppose. Gorgon definitely did not flip enough and went like over the banking, which is just like, it's awful, just complete stinging nettle chaos in there. So we may not find that until like winter. All right, that one's gone for good. Anyways, they were on the chopping block anyways. which means we have to call the pack here. Those two, as well as the Avenger SS, wasn't quite as flippy as what I'm looking for. And then there's a few on the too flippy side of the spectrum, and those are the Signal, the Vortex, the Prodigy F9, and the Persona probably falls into that category, but our last throw with it was so good that I kind of want to keep it just to make sure, which means that we're left with 4, and only 1 will survive, and those include the Innova Lynx, the Climo Osprey, the MVP Axiom Virus, and the TSA Persona, which means we got a big decision to make. But before we do, if you're looking for your next flippy fairway driver, you can find it at this video's sponsor, Disc Golf Deals USA. You can even use my affiliate link in the description below to get 10% off your entire order. They got great customer service, an enormous selection of discs. And if you use the link, you support the channel. So it's pretty sick. But for our final 4, same hole, different tee pad. You can see this tree that's bending across the fairway. We want to dip to the right of that tree. So where that tree is, that's where we really want to break to the right. If we go straight, we go in the water and we might lose a couple more discs, which I really would not enjoy. But I think these are flippy enough where if I put them out wide and flat, we should be able to dodge this low ceiling, still break right, still be fine. Some of the other discs that were less understable wouldn't be ideal for this, but that's why they're not here. All right, we got TSA Persona. Oh, did not put that low enough. Oh, but doesn't matter. Actually, does matter. No, we hit that tree. Yeah, get through there. Oh yeah, that is perfect. That Lynx is going to be very hard to beat. Very similar for the Osprey though. Oh gosh, that's nice too. Those are both really nice. Can you get through Virus? We hit the same exact spot with all 3 of those. Sorry, Persona. We did not hit the gap with the Persona. But those 3 worked out very well. Well guys, we came, we threw, we flipped, and we lost a couple along the way, which is a first for this series. But you know, it was bound to happen eventually. And now we got to pick a winner. And of our flippy fairway drivers, my favorite of these 10 for this style of shot, which is very specific, is the Innova Lynx. I'm really surprised how much I like this disc. Reliably, very flippy, still has great glide, but also isn't just burning over into a roller for me immediately. Could very easily be a roller disc for me if I wanted to lay it down. I also like the fact that it's a 7-speed, so it's going to pair really well with our T-Birds, which I talked about earlier. Those were straight to overstable fairway drivers, so I feel like that's a great duo. T-Bird in a few different plastics, few different stabilities, plus Lynx to cover our really flippy shots. How can you beat that? With that said, I liked a lot of the discs in here today, so again, let me know what your favorite flippy fairway driver is down below. Did I cover yours today, or did I snub yours? Let me know down below. This was a fun video to make. You know, it was a beautiful day out here at Harmony Bends, and I love throwing some flippy drivers. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. You can also follow me on Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf or UDisc Community at Flying Fajita. And as always, guys, I love you. Take care. I'll see you next time.